Pain was the first thing I remembered. Sharp, searing pain that shot through my entire body like lightning. The steady beep of hospital monitors filled my ears as I drifted in and out of consciousness. Through the haze of medication, I could make out fragments of conversation. Multiple fractures, internal bleeding. Lucky to be alive. I hadn't seen the truck coming. One moment I was driving home from work, thinking about the promotion I'd just received, and the next moment my world exploded in a cascade of shattering glass and screaming metal. The doctors said I was fortunate. The impact could have killed me instantly. Instead, I was left with 2 broken legs, 3 cracked ribs, a punctured lung, and a concussion that made the world spin every time I opened my eyes. "Emma, can you hear me?" A nurse's voice cut through the fog. "Your family is here." I forced my eyes open, wincing at the harsh fluorescent lights. My mother stood at the foot of the bed, her perfectly manicured nails gripping her designer handbag. My father lingered near the door, checking his phone. My older sister Vanessa perched delicately in the visitor's chair, looking everywhere but at me. "Oh, darling," Mom said, her voice dripping with practiced concern. "You look awful." Through cracked lips, I managed to whisper, "Water." Vanessa glanced at the water pitcher on the bedside table, then back at her phone. No one moved to help me. "The doctors say you'll need multiple surgeries," Dad announced, still scrolling through his emails. "The insurance will cover some of it, but—" "My savings," I croaked. "Use my savings account." The account had been my pride and joy. 5 years of careful budgeting, overtime shifts, and smart investments had given me a nest egg of just over $175,000. I'd been planning to use it as a down payment on my dream house. But now, "Of course, sweetheart," Mom patted my hand. "We'll take care of everything." I should have seen the gleam in her eyes, should have noticed how Vanessa suddenly perked up, her attention finally drawn away from her phone. But the pain medication pulled me under again, and by the time I resurfaced, it was too late. 3 days later, I woke to find Aunt Marie sitting beside my bed instead of my family. Her face was tight with barely contained anger. "Emma," she said softly, "I need to tell you something." Through the fog of painkillers, I listened as she explained. My family had accessed my savings account. I added my mother as a cosigner years ago when I first opened it, but instead of using the money for my medical bills, they had done something unthinkable. They went to Paris. Aunt Marie's voice shook with rage. "Your mother said they needed a break from all the stress of your accident. They took nearly all your money and booked a luxury vacation." I stared at the ceiling, feeling oddly numb. How much? How much did they take? $150,000. Aunt Marie gripped my hand. "They left just enough to cover your insurance deductible. Your mother said, and I quote, 'Emma won't need it anyway. She'll be stuck in that hospital bed for months.'" The numbness gave way to a cold, creeping anger. "Where are they now?" "Their flight left this morning. First-class tickets to Paris, luxury hotel bookings, shopping excursions." She pulled out her phone, showing me the Facebook posts my mother and sister had already started sharing. Pictures from the airport, champagne glasses raised in celebration. Finally getting away from all the stress. My mother had captioned one photo, "We deserve this break." Vanessa had posted a selfie from the first-class lounge. "Paris, here we come. Sometimes you just need to treat yourself." They were celebrating with my money while I lay broken in a hospital bed. The same family who had always preached about loyalty, about sticking together, about sacrificing for each other. They had stolen my savings and abandoned me without a second thought. "The medical bills," I whispered. "I'll help," Aunt Marie said firmly. "We'll figure it out, and when you're better, we'll make them pay for this." But I wasn't thinking about revenge yet. The pain and betrayal were too fresh, too raw. All I could do was lie there, watching through my hospital window as the sun set on the day my family showed their true colors. The next few months were a blur of surgeries, physical therapy, and constant pain. Aunt Marie was my rock, visiting every day, helping with my exercises, bringing home-cooked meals to supplement the bland hospital food. She even hired a lawyer to look into my family's theft, though we both knew it would be nearly impossible to prove anything since my mother had been a legal cosigner on the account. My family extended their Paris vacation to 3 weeks, then added a tour of the French Riviera. Through social media, I watched them live their best lives with my money, shopping sprees at designer boutiques, dining at Michelin-starred restaurants. sunset cruises along the Seine. Each post was like a knife twisting in my gut. They finally returned when my money ran out, sweeping into my hospital room laden with shopping bags and fake concern. "Oh, Emma," my mother sighed, "you're still not better. We've been so worried." I said nothing, just stared at her expensive new handbag, bought with my savings. "You understand why we needed that break, don't you?" Vanessa added, showing off her new Cartier watch. "It was so stressful seeing you like this. We deserved some time to recover." "Get out." My voice was quiet but firm. "Don't be dramatic," Mom scoffed. "We're family. Family forgives." "Get out?" "Emma," my father finally looked up from his phone. "You're being unreasonable. We left enough to cover your deductible, didn't we? The insurance is handling the rest. You should be grateful we're here at all." Aunt Marie, who had been silently watching from the corner, stood up. "I think it's time for you all to leave." "This doesn't concern you, Marie," my mother snapped. "Like hell it doesn't. Get out before I call security." They left in a huff of indignation and designer perfume. That was the last time I saw them for a very long time. Recovery was slow and painful. Learning to walk again felt like climbing a mountain, each step a battle against pain and weakness. But I had something my family didn't expect: determination. When I was finally released from a hospital, Aunt Marie insisted I move in with her. "Just until you're back on your feet," she said, but we both knew it was more than that. She was giving me a chance to rebuild my life away from my family's toxic influence. I threw myself into physical therapy, pushing through the pain, refusing to give up. During the long hours of rehabilitation, I had time to think, to plan. My family thought they had broken me, taken everything I had. They were wrong. Before the accident, I'd been a rising star at my investment firm. My boss, Michael, held my position open for me, impressed by my determination to recover. "Talent like yours doesn't come along often," he said when I finally returned to work. "Take whatever time you need to get back to full strength." I worked twice as hard as before, making up for lost time. My colleagues were supportive, having heard through the office grapevine about my family's betrayal. They covered for me when I needed extra breaks for physical therapy, brought me ice packs on days when the pain was bad, celebrated every milestone in my recovery. 5 years passed. I didn't just recover, I thrived. My investment strategies were more aggressive now, fueled by a determination my clients could sense. I made them money, lots of it, and my reputation grew. The promotion I'd been about to receive before the accident, I surpassed it within 2 years of returning to work. My family occasionally tried to contact me, especially when they needed money. I blocked their numbers, their emails, their social media accounts. Aunt Marie kept me informed of their activities, how they struggled after the Paris money ran out, how their lifestyle remained expensive while their income didn't match it. "Your mother's been asking about you," Aunt Marie mentioned one Sunday over dinner. "They're having financial troubles again." I focused on cutting my steak, my hands steady. "Not my problem." "Of course not," she agreed, "but you should know, your father's company is failing. Vanessa's husband left her, and she's drowning in debt. They're desperate." I looked up, meeting her eyes. Good. Because what my family didn't know, what they couldn't possibly suspect, was that their financial troubles weren't entirely accidental. Over the past 5 years, I've been carefully, quietly laying the groundwork for something they'd never see coming. They thought taking my savings was the end of the story. They were wrong. It was just the beginning. 10 years after my accident, as I sat in my corner office reviewing acquisition proposals, my phone buzzed with a text from Aunt Marie. "It's happening. They're completely broke. Your mother called me crying. They're going to lose everything." I smiled, picking up the folder marked Project Homecoming. Inside was the culmination of a decade's worth of planning, of careful manipulation of market forces, of strategic investments and calculated decisions. My family was about to discover that karma has a very long memory, and sometimes it comes with compound interest. The day my family's world finally crumbled, I dressed with particular care. A tailored black suit that cost more than all of Vanessa's designer handbags combined. Subtle jewelry, nothing flashy, real power doesn't need to show off. I learned that lesson well over the past decade. My office at Kingston and Associates overlooked Central Park, a view my father had always dreamed of having. The irony wasn't lost on me. While they were busy spending my savings in Paris 10 years ago, I was laying the foundation for something much bigger. "They're here," my assistant Thomas announced through the intercom. "Your father, mother, and sister are waiting in the main conference room." I took a deep breath, touching the small scar near my temple, a permanent reminder of the accident. "How do they look?" "Desperate," Thomas replied, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. He knew my story, had helped me execute many parts of my plan over the years. "Your father's wearing the same suit I saw him in last week at the bankruptcy hearing." I smiled. The bankruptcy hearing that I had orchestrated through a series of shell companies and strategic market manipulations. "Perfect, give me 5 minutes." I opened my safe and removed 3 files, each thick with documents. 10 years of careful planning had led to this moment. My family thought they were here to beg for help from Kingston and Associates, one of the city's most prestigious investment firms. They had no idea I was now its managing partner. The conference room fell silent as I walked in. For a moment, none of them recognized me. It had been a decade since they'd seen me in person. I changed. The timid, trusting daughter they'd taken advantage of was gone, replaced by someone altogether more formidable. "Emma?" My mother gasped, her expertly maintained facade cracking. What are you doing here?" I sat at the head of the table, placing the files in front of me. "I believe you requested this meeting to discuss your financial situation." You work here?" Vanessa's voice wavered, her eyes darting between my expensive suit and her own worn designer dress, probably from that shopping spree in Paris 10 years ago. "Work here?" I allowed myself a small smile. "I own it. Well, 51% of it anyway." My father, always quick to spot an advantage, leaned forward. "Emma, sweetheart, why didn't you tell us? We're family. We've been struggling so much, and all this time you could have." "Could have what?" I cut him off. "Helped you? Like you helped me when I was lying in that hospital bed?" They had the grace to look uncomfortable. My mother recovered first, her voice taking on the wheedling tone I remembered so well. "Darling, that was so long ago. We made a mistake. We were stressed, weren't thinking clearly, but now we can make it right. One big happy family again." I opened the first file. "Let's talk about family. Let's talk about the past 10 years. Did you ever wonder why your investment firm started losing clients, Dad? Why they suddenly took their business to smaller companies?" His face paled. That was you. "Those clients didn't just leave. They were carefully selected, approached, and redirected to firms I controlled. Every major account you lost was by my design." I turned to my sister. "And Vanessa, those prime real estate deals that kept falling through? The ones that would have saved your marriage? I bought those properties through shell companies, then let them sit empty, just watching your commission fees disappear." "You destroyed my marriage?" Vanessa whispered. "No, your greed did that. I just helped it along." My mother's hands were shaking now. "The country club membership being revoked, the social committee snubbing me. Was that you too? Amazing what people will do when they learn certain truths. Like how you stole from your injured daughter to go shopping in Paris." I opened the second file. "But that's all in the past. Let's talk about your current situation. Your bankruptcy, your mounting debts, the lawsuits from angry investors. I own it all. Every loan, every mortgage, every credit line. I spent 10 years buying them up through different companies." My father slumped in his chair. Why go to all this trouble?" "Because you taught me an important lesson in that hospital room. Money isn't just about wealth, it's about power. You took my savings because you could, because you had power over me. Now I have power over you." I opened the third file, removing 3 identical documents. "These are settlement agreements. I'm willing to make all your problems go away. Pay off your debts. Give you each a modest monthly stipend to live on. You'll never be rich again, but you won't be destitute either." Hope flickered in their eyes. My mother reached for the papers, but I held them back. "There are conditions. First, you'll sign over any remaining assets to my management. Second, you'll move out of the city. I've arranged modest homes for each of you in different states. And third, I met each of their eyes in turn. You'll never contact me again." "You can't be serious," Vanessa protested. "We're family." "Family?" I stood up slowly. "Family doesn't steal from someone lying broken in a hospital bed. Family doesn't celebrate with champagne while their daughter learns to walk again. Family doesn't post selfies from Paris while their sister struggles to pay medical bills." I placed the agreements in front of them. "You have until the end of the day to decide. Sign, and you get a chance to start over. Refuse, and tomorrow I begin foreclosure proceedings on all your properties. Your choice. You'd really do that to us? My mother whispered. I learned from the best, Mom. Sometimes family deserves a break, right? I left them there, staring at the documents that would reshape their lives. Thomas was waiting outside. Their lawyers are reviewing the agreements, he reported. They'll sign. Of course they will, I replied. They don't have a choice. Later that evening, as I sat in my penthouse apartment, Aunt Marie called. It's done, she said. They signed everything. Your mother tried to argue about moving to Nebraska, but your father shut her down. They know they're beaten. I walked to my window, looking out at the city lights. How did it feel? Seeing them finally face consequences? Satisfying. But Emma, are you okay? I touched the scar on my temple again, remembering the pain, the betrayal, the long years of planning that had led to this moment. I'm better than okay, I replied. I'm free. Because that's what this was really about. Not just revenge, but liberation. Breaking free from the toxic bonds of family obligation that had almost destroyed me. They thought taking my savings was their victory. Instead, it became the key to their defeat. The next morning, I arrived at my office to find 3 envelopes on my desk. Forwarding addresses for my family members, each heading to their new, modest lives in different corners of the country. I dropped them in my shredder without opening them. I didn't need to know where they were going. They were simply gone. Thomas appeared with my morning coffee. The Paris photos are still on their social media, he mentioned. Would you like me to have them taken down? I shook my head. Leave them up. Let them serve as a reminder that sometimes the most expensive vacation of your life isn't the one that costs the most money. It's the one that costs you everything else. I picked up a new file, this one containing acquisition papers for another investment firm. Life would go on. Business would continue. But now finally, I could move forward without the weight of betrayal holding me back. You know what the best revenge is, Thomas? I asked, signing the papers that would add another company to my growing empire. What's that? I smiled, thinking of my family scattered across the country, living on the modest stipends I now controlled. The best revenge is making sure that every time they look at their bank accounts, every time they have to budget for groceries or think twice about buying something they want, they'll remember. They'll remember the daughter they betrayed, the sister they abandoned, and they'll know. This is what karma feels like with compound interest. 10 years ago, they took my savings and went to Paris, leaving me broken in a hospital bed. Today, I took everything they had and sent them packing to separate states, leaving them with just enough to survive but never enough to forget. Sometimes the best lessons in life take a decade to teach, and sometimes those lessons come with a first-class ticket to karma.